My name is Ariella Stone. I'm 32, and I used to think I understood silence. The kind that settles over an apartment at 11 p.m., the kind that makes the hum of the fridge sound like a pulse. Lately, the silence felt curated, like someone put it there so I wouldn't hear what mattered. 2 months ago, my boyfriend Noah, 29, good jawline, better timing, works in boutique brand strategy, asked for me time. He said it tenderly, like the words themselves were fragile. Babe, I love you. This isn't about us. It's about me. I just need some nights to recharge, get back to my hobbies, be in my head a little. Of course, I said, because of course is what you say when you want to be the kind of partner who isn't afraid of space. At first, it was almost sweet. He lit a candle before he left, like a promise of calm would linger in the air, while he did his solo reset. He always chose Wednesdays and Saturdays. He always left around 7. He was always a little too dressed up for the couch and book routine he mentioned if I asked. And when I asked, casual, smiling, small jokes about his mysterious monk life, his shoulders would stiffen a degree. It's nothing, he'd say, harmlessly annoyed. Don't make it a thing. I am not a clingy woman. I have a job that eats my calendar and hobbies that save my sanity. I have friends who call me at odd hours, and a mother who thinks love is measured in Tupperware. But there's a difference between trust and ignoring the way your stomach drops when a story doesn't line up. After 3 weeks of me-time outfits that looked like date nights with a mirror, my intuition stopped whispering and started knocking. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I'm not ashamed either. I hired a private investigator. Old school, efficient. It felt ridiculous at first, like I was playing detective in my own living room, but I wanted facts, not the cinematic reruns in my head. The PI was quick. A folder arrived in my inbox. Subject, Case Update NR, Noah's initials. Inside, a neat grid of time-stamped photos that looked like stills from a movie I didn't remember auditioning for. Noah laughing. Noah not alone. A woman on his arm. Dark hair, precise posture, a dress that said she knew what she wanted. They were holding hands on a crowded sidewalk. They were kissing outside a bar where the sign flickered like it was wincing. Later, they disappeared into a building I didn't recognize. A caption from the PI. Confirmed ID. Lila Chen. Ex-girlfriend. Prior relationship ended 2 years ago. Frequent evening contact. Saturdays, Wednesdays. Ex-girlfriend. It's funny what your brain does to protect you. Everything went cold and clinical, as if I had stepped out of myself and into a room with brighter lights. I scrolled through the inconsistencies, the soft lies, the casual evasions, and they clicked together like magnets. It was simple, it was ugly, it was disrespect, performed on a loop while my apartment played home base. I didn't confront him. What would that have been? A scene? He'd deny, minimize, turn the word me into an apology. I would be asked to accept. No, this needed edges. It needed law. I called building management. I called a lawyer. Noah's name wasn't on the lease. I'd signed it before we met, paid the deposit out of an account I had built nickel by nickel while the rest of my friends were buying trips and sneakers. The process, I learned, was straightforward. A 30-day notice to vacate for a non-leaseholding occupant. Clean. Final. Documented. His next me time was Saturday. He kissed me by the door before leaving. The casual intimacy of it made my ribs feel like glass. Don't wait up, he said, smiling. I might stop by the bookstore after. I tucked a hair behind his ear the way I always did when I wanted to remember us soft. I waited an hour. Then I texted the PI. With her? Reply, affirmative, at Lila's address. Lights on, both inside. At 10 p.m., I drove to the block the PI had sent me earlier in the week and parked across from Lila's building. I didn't go in. I sat in the quiet and watched people live their lives. A guy carrying a plant like a trophy, a woman in a red coat sprinting for a rideshare, laughter ricocheting off brick. Around 10:20, the door opened and out they came, Noah and Lila, hands linked, bodies close. He kissed her like he had all the time in the world. When they finally unhooked, he walked her to her car, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. I had never seen that gesture from the outside. It looked rehearsed. I went home. At 10:45, the door opened. Noah stepped in humming, coat swaying, a smile spilling over. Hey, you're still up, he said, surprised but pleased, like I'd stayed for an encore. He set his keys on the counter. Me time was perfect. God, I needed that. I had the envelope in my hand. He noticed it, squinted. What's that? Mail, I said, and offered it to him. He opened it, skimming the first page. Confusion flickered. Then disbelief. Then something like panic, sharp and sour. What the, Ari, is this a joke? Is this a... No joke, I said, voice steady. It was almost easy now, the way my words found the floor and stayed there. It's a 30-day eviction notice. You're not on the lease. You have until the 9th to vacate. We can discuss logistics for your things. His laugh came out wrong. Eviction? Are you serious? You can't evict your... He stopped, searching for a word that wouldn't hurt when it landed. Your partner. We live together. You stay here most nights, Webb, I said. My apartment. My lease. You are an occupant by courtesy. And your courtesy ended when you turned my home into a staging area for your ex-girlfriend. The color left his face like someone had pulled a plug. Ex-girlfriend? What are you... I pulled up a single photo on my phone, the cleanest one. Him and Lila mid-kiss, the neon sign behind them making a halo of the worst kind. I didn't shove it in his face. I just angled the light so the truth could walk to him on its own legs. He stared, his lips parted. Ari, I can explain. No need, I said. Calm. Detached in a way that made me feel both powerful and slightly unreal. The explanation is in the pattern. You've been lying for months. You've been using my roof as your excuse. You've disrespected this home and me. The notice stands. He swallowed hard, eyes bright and wet. 30 days? You're just like that? After 3 years? You started like that, I said, on Wednesdays and Saturdays. Ari, please, I lost myself for a minute. Lila reached out and I was confused and... You were focused, I said. Right on schedule, Wednesdays and Saturdays. His mouth trembled. Don't do this. I already did. We'll make a list tomorrow. What's yours? What's mine? What goes to storage? I'll cover the first month on a unit so you have somewhere to put your things while you figure yourself out. After that, it's on you. He stared like the room would offer him a different script if he waited long enough. When it didn't, anger arrived to carry him. You're cruel, he said softly, like it was a private diagnosis. You're actually cruel. I'm clear, I said. He shook his head, and then the bargaining began. The little reaches people make when they're drowning inches from shore. We can fix this, he whispered. I can block her. We can do therapy. Don't throw us away. I thought about the folder of photos. The way he had held Lila's hand like it was a familiar object. The way he'd come home humming. I'm not throwing us away, I said. I'm acknowledging you already did. He stood there, eviction notice wilting in his grip. The apartment went very quiet. I turned off the living room lamp and left him in the half-light, because sometimes the kindest thing you can do for a person who built their own darkness is let them see it. I slept on the couch. It was the best sleep I'd had in weeks. The next morning, the air in the apartment felt heavy, like the walls themselves were waiting to see what I'd do. I brewed coffee, my hands steady, even though my pulse wasn't. Noah was pacing in the kitchen, wearing yesterday's clothes, dark circles pooling under his eyes. The eviction notice lay crumpled on the table, like he'd tried to erase it by touch alone. Ari, we need to talk, he said, voice cracking somewhere between anger and disbelief. We already did. You can't just kick me out. This is my home, too. I took a sip of coffee. Actually, it's not. Your name isn't on the lease. You were a guest here, a long-term one, yes, but still a guest, and that invitation has expired. The silence between us pulsed. Then he changed strategies. His voice softened, almost rehearsed. Ari, come on. We've been together for 3 years. You're really throwing it all away over one mistake? One mistake? I repeated quietly. Noah, this wasn't a stumble. This was choreography. You built an entire routine around lying to me. Wednesdays, Saturdays, candles, the outfits, everything was planned. He exhaled sharply, guilt flashing across his face like lightning, gone as fast as it came. Then the tears arrived. But where am I supposed to go? You know I can't afford a place right now. I'm between projects. You could ask Lila, I said flatly. Seems like she's good at making room for you. His head snapped up. Don't bring her into this. A bit late for that, isn't it? You brought her into my home, into our story. His phone buzzed on the counter. He glanced at the screen, then flipped it over, face flushing. Probably her. He followed me down the hallway, words tumbling out. Ari, please. I messed up, but I love you. I'll fix it. I'll end things with her. We can do counseling, anything, just don't do this. Noah, I'm done doing things you should have done yourself. By noon, I'd emailed him the formal documentation from my lawyer, copies of the lease, the notice, and confirmation of his 30-day timeline. The subject line read simply, Occupancy Termination Notice, Confirmation. I CC'd my lawyer. That seemed to sober him a little. That evening, while I was answering work emails, my phone rang. Zara, Noah's older sister. I stared at the name for a full 10 seconds before answering. Ariella, she said immediately, her tone sharp and maternal, the kind that carries decades of bossing people around. I just spoke with Noah. You're being incredibly cruel. I sighed. Good evening to you too, Zara. He made a mistake, she pressed on. People make mistakes. You're going to throw him out on the street over one lapse in judgment? One lapse? He had a schedule. That's not a mistake. That's a system. You know what I mean. He's devastated. You're breaking his heart. What about everything he's invested in this relationship? I almost laughed. Invested? Zara, he was living rent-free while using me as his alibi. I think the ROI speaks for itself. Her tone hardened. You'll regret this, Ariella. He's a good man. You're acting cold. Maybe, I said, but cold keeps you from getting burned twice. She hung up on me. For the next few days, Noah swung between tearful apologies and sharp-edged hostility. The apartment turned into a battlefield of passive aggression. He started small, leaving lights on in every room, using up all the hot water before I showered, playing melancholy music on full blast when I was on conference calls, little paper cuts. Then came the notes, sticky reminders on the fridge. Some people don't appreciate loyalty. You'll miss me when the silence gets real. I peeled them off one by one and threw them away. Midweek, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Zara standing there, arms crossed, jaw set. We need to talk, she said, brushing past me before I could object. Noah appeared from his hallway, instantly emboldened by her presence. I watched the transformation happen in real time, shoulders straightening, voice steadier. She has rights, Zara declared. You can't just evict him like this. We've spoken to a friend who knows tenant laws. Then your friend should read more carefully, I said, pulling the printed legal documents from the counter. He's not a tenant. He's not on the lease. He's an occupant who received proper notice under the law. My attorney confirmed it. Zara scoffed. You're heartless. No, I said. I'm thorough. Noah chimed in, voice trembling with both fury and fear. Ari, you can't just erase me. This is our home. I decorated this place with you. I raised an eyebrow. You picked out 2 throw pillows and a lamp. Let's not rewrite history. Zara stepped forward, lowering her voice like she was about to deliver a sermon. If you go through with this, everyone will know who you really are. We'll tell your friends, your coworkers, your family. People will see the truth. I met her stare without blinking. Are you threatening to slander me because your brother cheated on me? It's not slander if it's true, she snapped. You're being vindictive. I smiled faintly. And yet I haven't raised my voice once. The notice stands. He has until the 9th. After that, his belongings go into storage. First month's rent covered by me. I suggest you use that time productively. For a second, I thought Zara might actually lunge at me. But something in my tone must have landed, because she huffed, grabbed her purse, and stormed out, muttering about cold-hearted women. Noah followed her to the door, but didn't leave. He just stood there, looking small. You don't have to do this, he said quietly. Yes, I do, I replied, because you never thought I would. The following week crawled by. The tension in the apartment could have powered the lights. Every morning, I woke to the sound of Noah slamming cupboards or sighing theatrically into phone calls. I knew he was telling anyone who'd listen that I'd lost my mind. When I got home one evening, I found coffee spilled across my desk, soaking through important work documents. The cup sat sideways, empty, no note, no apology. Just the faint smell of bitter roast and defiance. Later that night, while tidying the spare room, I noticed something odd. My grandfather's watch and a pair of earrings were missing from the jewelry tray. I found them tucked beneath Noah's clothes in his drawer. When I confronted him, he didn't even flinch. I was keeping them safe, he said. From what? Me? That's when I realized he'd stopped trying to win me back. Now it was about control, tiny, desperate grabs at my peace. So I took it away from him. I moved my valuables into a locked briefcase I kept with me at all times. I installed a discreet, motion-activated security camera in the living room that uploaded to the cloud. I even sent him an email informing him of the device, citing recent property concerns. His reaction was predictable. "You're invading my privacy," he yelled, standing in the doorway. "The irony is killing me," I said. That night, the apartment was thick with tension and music leaking under his door. Some breakup ballad he must have played on repeat. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, counting down the days until November 9th. Every stunt he pulled only confirmed I'd made the right choice. I was done being the understanding girlfriend. I was done being the punchline of his lies. This was my home again. And soon, it would finally be quiet. The morning of November 9th arrived like the final scene of a movie I'd already watched too many times. The city outside was still, wrapped in gray fog, as if even the weather didn't want to interfere. I was up early, coffee brewed, hair tied back, sleeves rolled up. It was moving day, just not mine. Noah was still in bed, cocooned in blankets like hiding might buy him more time. The spare room, formerly my office, then his cluttered refuge, was piled high with half-packed boxes and open drawers. His idea of preparing to leave had been symbolic at best. At 8:30 sharp, the intercom buzzed. Zara, of course. She breezed in before I could even finish unlocking the door. "You're actually going through with this?" she demanded, voice sharp enough to slice through the morning air. "Good morning, Zara," I said evenly. "Yes, it's day 30. "She has nowhere to go," she snapped, gesturing toward the hallway like Noah was a helpless child instead of a grown man who'd orchestrated an affair. "He's had 30 days to make arrangements," I said. "His choices brought him here." Zara folded her arms, chin high. "You're heartless." "I'm consistent," I replied. A knock sounded. The locksmith, right on time. He gave me a polite nod before setting down his toolkit. Noah emerged from the bedroom just as the man began working on the front door. "What are you doing?" he shouted, voice breaking with panic. "Changing the locks," I said calmly. "Your occupancy ended at midnight." "You can't just do this while I'm still here," he yelled, running a hand through his hair. "Legally, I can," I said, showing him the printed notice he'd signed acknowledging receipt weeks ago. "You're a monster," he spat. "You'll regret this." "Maybe," I said, "but at least I'll regret it in peace." At 9, 2 movers arrived, a pair of calm, middle-aged men who'd clearly seen worse. They nodded to me, then began carefully carrying out the boxes Noah had managed to pack. The rest of his things I'd already labeled for them to sort and move into storage. "This is insane," Zara barked, whipping out her phone. "The world is going to see how you treat people. I'm recording everything." "Perfect," I said, straightening a stack of papers on the counter. "Make sure you include the part where Noah admits to cheating. Context helps." That shut her up for a second. Noah's face went red. "You're unbelievable." "Right," I said softly. "That's what happens when you stop believing the unbelievable." While the locksmith finished the door, I watched from the kitchen as movers carried box after box out to the truck. Each one felt like an exhale. Then came the chaos. Noah started grabbing things: shirts, toiletries, random cables, dumping them into garbage bags. Zara hovered behind him, muttering curses under her breath. I stayed near the counter, taking quiet photos for inventory, just in case. At 10 o'clock, another knock. When I opened the door, I wasn't surprised to see Lila. She looked polished, but uneasy. Her eyes darted from me to Noah, to Zara, filming in the corner. I came because Noah called. He sounded... She stopped when she saw the movers behind me. "What's happening?" "Oh," I said lightly. "You must be Lila. Thanks for coming. Noah's moving out today. Perfect timing. You can help him carry a few things." Her mouth opened, then closed. The color drained from her face. "I didn't realize..." "Yeah," I said. "Most people don't realize consequences until they're standing in the living room." Noah stepped forward, voice low and pleading. "Ari, please don't do this in front of her." "Why not?" I asked. "You had no problem doing the other thing in front of her." Lila stared at him, realization flickering in her eyes. "You told me she knew." Noah froze. You said you were working things out." Lila's voice cracked. For a moment, the entire room was silent, except for the click of the locksmith finishing his final turn. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "Reality's rough when the script changes, huh?" I said quietly. Lila grabbed her purse and bolted for the door, brushing past the locksmith. Noah stood motionless, humiliation washing over him in slow motion. Guess your me time is over, I murmured. He glared at me, eyes glassy. You'll regret this, he said again. But the words had lost all power. By 2 in the afternoon, it was done. The last box left in the truck. Zara and Noah stood outside in the hall, staring at the new lock on the door like it was betrayal made tangible. I handed Noah a slip of paper with the storage unit address. First month's paid, I said. After that, it's yours. He hesitated, expecting, I don't know, an apology, a crack in the armor. Ari, please. No, I said simply. Goodbye, Noah. Zara tugged at his arm. Come on, she muttered. Let's go. When the door closed behind them, I leaned back against it, exhaling for what felt like the first time in months. The apartment was still and bright. My reflection in the window looked older, steadier. I ordered pizza. 2 of my friends came over to help me put the furniture back where it belonged. We laughed. Not out of joy exactly, but relief. Later that night, as the city lights bled through the blinds, I sat on the couch and replayed the camera footage from earlier, just to be sure everything had gone by the book. Zara yelling, Noah grabbing boxes, Lila's stunned silence. It was all there. Proof. Closure. My phone buzzed, a string of angry messages from unknown numbers, probably friends of his, parroting his version of the story. I blocked them one by one. Then I turned the volume down on the city and just listened. The apartment was quiet, my kind of quiet this time. The kind that meant peace, not secrets. The next morning, sunlight spilled across the hardwood floor like a peace offering. For the first time in months, I woke up without tension in my chest. No hushed phone calls from the bathroom, no fake laughter seeping through walls, no second-guessing myself into silence. Just air, just mine. But peace, I learned, has an echo. By noon, the text began. Denial. Ari, this doesn't make sense. We can talk. You're overreacting. Anger. You're cruel. I hope you know that. Everyone's starting to see who you really are. Bargaining. What if we start over? I'll get therapy. I'll delete her number. Please. Depression. You broke me. I can't eat. I can't sleep. You're heartless. Each one arrived like a ghost tapping on the door, trying to be let back in. I didn't answer. That evening I saw it. His post. A long, performative caption over a selfie with swollen eyes and soft lighting. Sometimes you give your heart to someone who weaponizes it. Don't ignore red flags, people. Protect your peace. The comments were predictable. Stay strong, King. She didn't deserve you. You're better off. I scrolled past them, then back again, and quietly laughed. He'd turned betrayal into a brand. At first, I wanted to comment, to post the truth, to upload every photo, every timestamp, every lie. But then I stopped. Because the truth doesn't need a spotlight. It just needs time. 2 days later, my phone pinged again. A message from Tom, one of Noah's coworkers. Hey, Ari, just wanted to say, I get it. We used to see how he talked about you at work. The whole me time joke thing. Not cool. You did what you had to do. I stared at that text for a long time before typing back. Thank you. It was the smallest validation, but it hit harder than I expected. That same night, my friend Lena called. So, she said, I ran into Lila today. She looks wrecked. Really? I asked, feigning mild interest. She said Noah lied to her about everything. Told her you were separated and moving out. Classic projection. I didn't respond. There wasn't anything left to say. Lena sighed softly through the phone. You know what's wild? She told me she found out about the eviction online. Zara apparently posted some rant about vindictive women weaponizing power. The comments were brutal, but most people aren't buying it. Good, I said. Let them talk. I'm done performing defense. By week 3, the tone of Noah's messages had changed. I saw your picture from the coffee shop. You look happy. Guess you moved on fast. He was right, though not in the way he meant. I had moved on, not to another person, but to myself. I started sleeping through the night again, went back to morning runs, rearranged the furniture, painted the spare room pale blue, and turned it into an office again. There were moments of loneliness, of course. Moments when I'd catch myself glancing at the empty spot on the couch where he used to sit, pretending to listen while scrolling through his phone. But those moments passed like passing storms, loud, temporary, cleansing. A month later, I met Evan. It wasn't a grand cinematic rebound, just a soft start. We met at a friend's dinner party. He was easy in the ways that matter, gentle, attentive, unhurried. On our 3rd date, he asked, So, what do you do when you're not working? I laughed. Apparently I do me time better than most, he grinned. As in, you raid, or as in, you plot revenge? Both, I said. When he laughed, it wasn't the brittle kind that needs an audience. It was warm, real. Weeks later, we went to a friend's birthday party. Someone asked how we met. Evan said, dating app. Her profile said she loves lists, spreadsheets, and solitude. I thought finally, someone honest. His friend chuckled. Spreadsheets for fun? Evan smiled. Hey, it's kind of endearing. I love it. No punchline, no mocking smile waiting to follow. Just simple affection for who I was. I didn't realize how foreign that had become. Last night, Noah texted me again. From a new number, of course. Saw you with someone new. Guess you didn't waste time. She looks boring. Perfect match. I showed it to Evan. He raised an eyebrow. Is that the ex? Yeah, I said. The one who thought honesty was cruelty. He smirked. Sounds like karma's clocked in. I didn't reply to Noah, but the irony caught up to me this morning. Lena sent a screenshot of another post, this time from Lila. When someone keeps making jokes about you in public and calls it love, walk away. Some people never change. Apparently, Noah's new relationship had lasted 3 months. He'd started needing me time again. I sat by the window, phone face down, sunlight painting the floor gold. The world outside hummed like it always had, but I heard it differently now. Some people think boundaries are cruelty, that choosing peace is punishment. But I've learned that walking away isn't an ending. It's the beginning of hearing yourself again. Noah once said he needed space to find himself. He was right. I just didn't realize I'd find myself in the silence he left behind.